Deputy Catherine Connolly, please.
All the contributors, to my colleague Thomas Pringle, to Sinn Féin, to Labour, to Social Democrats. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. And also to the Minister for your positive attitude. But just let me use my few minutes to try and put this in perspective. I fully understand the complexity of the issues involved. Given my own background and more than Deputy Batchik, I also had the privilege of appearing before the Redress Board on many's the occasion. What I would highlight about that is it is a criminal offence for me to disclose any amount of money that the clients received. Can you imagine that in the 21st century, that piece of legislation still remains on the books, and it's a crime if I now disclose to you what one of the clients that I was with got up in the Redress Board. And so you have to look at that and then look at your detailed speech that you've given to me, which I appreciate. Except trust, I started off with trust and I'm finishing with trust. There's a complete lack of trust on my part. If there's a lack of trust on my part, then I cannot inculcate trust in the people on the ground. And why do I say that? Why is there a lack of trust? Because you haven't mentioned the Miriam Reynolds. Perhaps I'm taking you short, but you're fully aware of the Miriam Reynolds. I asked you to address it in your final speech. That identifies the potential irregularities on top of the irregularities that they found. And it's potentially major, up to 20,000 documents and so on. I don't need to exaggerate here. My question is, how come that you haven't clarified what happened in relation to that? Why did it take almost 2 years to publish it? Why is it not clarified what the woman apparently said to the Journal, that she asked for her name to be redacted because she was unhappy with the redactions made by the department or the minister or whoever? Why can't that be clarified now so that you can restore trust, so that I can have trust in the system? The collaborative forum was put into being by your predecessor. The report was never published. Okay, there are so many reasons why I lack trust. I see you as a human being, someone that's interested, someone that's authentic. I don't doubt your bona fides, I've said it repeatedly, but I do doubt what's happening in your department and what it represents. And I'll say again, when we seek to protect mothers, we are deceiving mothers and deceiving people. We are protecting the system. And look at the enormity of what we're talking about. We're talking about a report here from the Commission of Investigation that dealt with 56 unmarried mothers. Now, I might come back to that phraseology, 57,000 children, over 100,000 in a sample number of institutions. Can we just let our minds range as to how many of our relatives and friends and people that we know were in institutions or descendants of people in institutions? Nextly, we look at the narrative in that, and we see in that report from the Commission of Inquiry, and you've heard me say that there are good things in it. Let me say, the word imagine they use is beware of the evidence given. Limitations of the report. This is from the vast majority of people who attended the confidential report or went to the confidential report because it wasn't clear if they could attend both or if they were ever informed that they could go to both. And what do we say in this report? We say this report outlines the experience of those who choose to recount their experience. They are not a representative sample because they were small. However, the Commission does have concerns about the contamination of some evidence. A number of witnesses gave evidence that was clearly incorrect. They tell us this. The contamination probably occurred because of meetings with other residents and inaccurate media coverage. Now, can you imagine that is put down there as a kind of an introduction to the evidence that we're going to look at that was given to the confidential? I've never heard the word contaminated in my life except in relation to exhibits. I've heard credible evidence or evidence that's not credible. And surely, is this what telling us that the people who went there weren't credible? That's one big problem I have with that. The word unmarried mother, the terms of reference, notwithstanding how restrictive they were and how limited they were, never once used the word unmarried mother. Never once. I asked you all to look at the terms of reference. Single women are referred to. And yet the Commission decided to repeatedly use the word unmarried mother. Then we look at the constant change of language in it. This witness, that witness, another rape victim. Totally insensitive way of dealing with what came before us. So that's just the Commission, and you've heard me on record saying how disappointed, shocked at the type of language that was used in the executive summary. And then this, people will be disappointed because it's not in accordance with the narrative. But it's absolutely in accordance with the narrative that said we all did it. We didn't do it. I wasn't part of that narrative. Neither was my family or the people that I know. But this report actually tells me that's the narrative that I'm upset about. The narrative where responsibility or blame was splattered onto everyone, and a refusal to recognise the imbalance of power between those who had it and exercised it in a brutal way over those who had no power. So my passion comes from many things. It comes from my own experience, my own family experience, my own experience as a barrister in a privileged life, and many other experiences that I've had that gives me a voice here. And so I'm standing here tonight because I have absolutely no trust that you're going to produce a legislation this year that will guarantee unrestricted access to birth certificates, birth details, and all relevant information. Again, why do I say that? Because I'm looking, as has been referred to by Deputy Cairns, in relation to the Journal article and what's been reported. And thank you to the Journal for highlighting these matters, because you're not highlighting them here tonight, Minister, in relation to your department. Can you imagine that applicants, that women and men are telling us that when they apply to your department, they're being told all sorts of different things. You can't have it under GDPR, but try under the Freedom of Information. Some are told, some are not. Are they making this up as they go along? Do you feel shocked by it? Do you feel upset by it? Do you feel it's something that you should go out and check and make a statement on? That they're the kind of answers I would like in here, while I appreciate the complexity of what we're dealing with. But there's no complexity in my mind in relation to what's needed so that one can discover their identity and begin their life journey of discovering who they are, because it takes us a lifetime to find out who we are. And we are depriving people of the most basic tools to do that. For what reason? And I believe the reason is we still have not grown up. We still have not faced the fact that we're a republic, and information belongs to all of us, and it certainly belongs to the person that it's personal to. And we haven't crossed that road yet at all. We haven't even begun to address what it means to be a republic. And so we're back here with your speech of a couple of pages telling us about all the complexities while failing to answer any of the questions that I've asked, and I'm going to repeat them. When will the investigation into the leak be completed and published? When will the report of the Collaborative Forum be published? When are we going to get a redress scheme, or whatever name that you're calling it? When will we see legislation? Will we see it before the Christmas? Can you tell us that? And I will certainly work with you, because we cannot wait any longer. My oldest child is 1997. In that year, Banished Babies was published. It told us quite a lot of facts. Prior to that, in 1984, we had an interdepartmental committee that was fully aware of a number of facts. There's no shortage of information. We have the Miriam Reynolds report that quotes Dr. De Valera. Now, I don't wish to personalise it, but she highlights this in her report, and for good reasons, apparently, he decided that a birth should be falsely registered. A crime, still a crime. So I'm here tonight, and all my colleagues are here, and you're saying, yes, we're doing it. But when is it going to happen? Why does it take my private member's bill with my colleague, Sinn Féin's private member, Labour's Sinn Féin? I'm sure the Social Democrats will be coming up with one. Why is it taking that much pressure to say they are entitled to unlimited access to information? Full stop. There is a difference between unlimited access to information, as the Irish Council for Civil Liberties have pointed out, and contact with your birth mother. They're two different things and can be dealt with differently. The bill that you have produced, the Heads of Bill, has some good points in it, but there are many negative points. There's institutions named that are limited, there's an age limit limited, and there are many other things that are of concern to me, of concern to the Irish Council for Civil Liberties, and of concern to the Clon organisation, amongst other organisations. So 2 seconds left. I thank my colleagues. I thank you for your positivity, Minister, but I really would like you to come back with a date and a time. And if the complexity of the matter is so complex, let's break it down and have a number of pieces of legislation. That
concludes our second stage consideration of the adoption Information Bill 2021, and the question now is that the bill be read a second time. Is that agreed? It's agreed. Congratulations, deputies.